Hey folks, it's Akitsu and welcome to The Void Beyond the Sky, Season 1, Episode 4. First off, I gotta recover my old flight, so let me go to the nav building and recover. Used to be all you had to do was hit end flight, but now you actually have to recover to pick up your astronauts and everything. So here I am. I've decided to make a experimental ship, and basically I want to make a billboard in space. I was watching Sealab 2021, one of the older episodes since there are new episodes, and the episode where they decide to put a billboard in space because kids like surfing. I sat there and I said, hey, that's a brilliant idea. Let me put a billboard in space. And of course, this is just a proof of concept, little tiny one. When I do finally get everything together and get everything finalized, I will make a nice big ship that will actually read pretty nicely. As is right here, I'm modeling this on the old LCD kind of display. If you look at an old watch, the old ones that are red from the 50s and 60s that had the original first digital LCD displays, they were very primitive, but they were very well done in the fact that you could actually see exactly what you need to see with them. I kind of figured that maybe the lights would be a little brighter on this, but they're really kind of dim. Then again, I was doing the flights during the day. I'll have to try another one at night just to see how it pans out. But I mean, that first little design, it's too crooked, so let me redo it. Start everything off with a nice fresh batch of girders. Now, I was thinking about only doing 3 lines with the center line and 1 on either side, but that's just really not enough for real resolution of any characters. So here we are, it's a 5-line display. I could have gotten the spacing a little better, but like I said, this is a proof of concept ship. It's not really meant to be anything permanent. Just to make sure that my ideas are actually going to work and not just be a giant waste of time to build something huge that doesn't really work right. With anything Kerbal, I do recommend that you sit there and actually do prototype, because you don't want to spend hours and hours and hours working on something that just isn't feasible. You know, like probes that don't work and ion drives that don't go anywhere. You know, try something out first on a small scale. See how it works first. See if you actually want to continue with that. Now, as you see here, I used the spotlights. Now, I could have tried the reflectors, but I'm not sure. I'll just have to do a side-by-side on those later and see if they work out better. As is, I actually like the spotlights really nicely because they are nice and round and they light up very nice. At night, I'm sure they'll look really good. During the day, they actually do show up pretty well as well, so I can't complain. That said, having launched and actually dealt with this now, I can actually tell you that I'm going to have to increase the resolution. I'm going to have to make a lot of changes to this when I do relaunch it. But it does serve well as a good proof of concept. Now, as you can see here, I've clustered these engines, and I'm doing the hold down Alt and drag to copy the part so that I can have 2 of them, just in case I screw something up. There you go. That works fine. Looking back at it, I can see one of the engines is a little off, but oh well. What can you do? So here we are. We're going to put our fuel line here. Now, one thing I did learn on one of the other episodes that hasn't gotten up yet, if you have these girders connected to a fuel of any kind, be it a giant container or any little container, the fuel all goes through it because of the fact that it does have fuel crossfeed. So, despite the fact that it shouldn't work because there's technically no fuel lines and nothing running this all the way up, it does. So I'll show that episode after I edit it. Right now, this was just too cool of a concept not to get up there, so I had to put everything else on hold because this is the easiest video to put out. Now, as you can see here, I've gone into the action groups. Now, this part I really could have skipped, and I really should have skipped maybe, because all I have to do is hit the light switch to do this, but at the same time I wanted to clear out any lighting that I already had on there, and I wasn't sure if it was going to do it if I just hit the light switch. So this way it toggles the lights completely every time. That's a good thing. Now, for those of you that are following along and you're planning your own ships for this, I do have to say it would have been better had I just turned them all onto off on that first custom, because really that's what I wanted. I wanted it off, but I have to go through a secondary step of turning it on and then turning it off with the toggle. Now, I named this Neon ADX, and that's really just nothing. It's advertising speak. Why is there a D in it? Because it's cool looking. Why is it bigger than the other ones? Because it's cool looking. What's the A stand for? Nothing. What does the X stand for? X is very well sought out as a marketing letter, so we'll put that in there. It doesn't really have to have any meaning when it comes to advertising. Yeah, those struts are bad. Oh well. Like I said, prototype. And with any prototype, you really don't want to spend too much time nitpicking over it. You just want to get it flying to see what happens. So here we are, putting up my struts. Save it, launch it. Now, as you can see, here's the lighting test. Custom 1 toggles all the lights. Custom 2 makes the letter A. Now, as you can see, it shows up really nicely against the dark. So I'll have to do a night flight when I actually get the full prototype up. But I mean, that's pretty far off and not visible at all. So I have to seriously look into some better illumination. Maybe some trick with putting something in front of it to make it reflect more, who knows. But hey, watch this bounce. Bam! And the lights are still on. The Sputnik has been destroyed, so I can't control it anymore, but the lights are still going. So here we are back in the hangar. And really quick, I'm just going to dismantle the parts I need. Don't need that. Well, I need it later, but not right now. This part, I don't know about that. Let me put it to the side for now. Now, what I like about this is it's got the battery, but it also has the generators just in case. So, you know, always redundancy. Is it adding more weight? Yes, but this is such a light craft that it really doesn't matter. I would like to get one into orbit that's big enough to maybe see from a distance, so maybe that'll be the next video. After all the other videos that I have in the backlog, I have the Oban video, I have another video right after that, so it's going to be a couple videos. Now, here I am, I'm plotting out just how many characters I want to put in this, and I put 5, I believe, maybe 6. No, 5. which is exactly the amount of letters in beyond, because I want this to be a billboard for the show. I'm going to make it flash the void beyond the sky. Why do I keep saying stars? Okay. So here I've toyed around with an idea of actually putting some jet engines on the side here. Just because... crooked. Just because when I do run out of fuel, I would like to try and actually fly this, which is a futile hope because, you know, I'm not going to put enough jet engines on this to actually do anything, but at the same time, it's just something. I mean, technically, if I wanted to do jet engines, I should face them the other way and have them drag the sign behind it, which would be the smart way to do things. And maybe I'll do that on the next version. So here I am, trying to get some actual control to this. Put on our control surfaces, our deltas. I'm gonna run a fuel line just for prettiness. I don't believe it's necessary, but then again, you never know. I do want to keep the fuel for the engines separate, but I'm not sure I can do that, so we'll see. Now here, I actually toyed around with the idea of maybe being able to recover this vehicle like it was an actual standard advertising plane where you would take it up and bring it back down, refuel it. But I don't think that's really going to work, and I never really do get to try and land it. It's just not a landable craft at this point, but hey, prototypes are like that. You try things out and you see what works. If anything, I might want to put the landing gear the other way so that I land it flat. But we will see what the future holds for this design. Now, right here, I have to go through all of these and do the toggle, which, like I said, in hindsight, I should have just turned them all to off, because that's the effect that I want to get. I want to reset everything after each bunch of letters, because if you hit, let's say custom 2 is the word the, and custom 3 is void. If you hit 2 and then 3, it's going to turn on those lights for both of them and not turn anything back off. So you really do need to have that intermediary step of some kind of light toggle. And like I said, in hindsight, all these toggles that I'm doing here, I really should just turn them to off for custom 1. But I wasn't really thinking well last night, so it's just something for in hindsight. If you are deciding to build something like this, you want to have that go to off, not to toggle. Because when you go to toggle, the first thing it does, it turns everything on, and then it turns everything off when you hit it again. So it's just an extra keystroke between each word, and it's a lot of extra work that you don't need. Now, in case you were wondering how I'm selecting all of these, it's, I believe Alt. I could be wrong. It's either Control or Alt when you're in the action groups. I believe it's Alt, yeah. Because I remember it was counterintuitive to what I thought it was going to be. And if I'm wrong on that, I'm sorry. It's easy enough to figure out. Right, here we go. Toggle, 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 toggle. All the toggleness is almost done. And then we get to the fun part, which is setting up the actual letters, which is a lot easier because you're not really turning everything on and off, you're just turning things on. Now, if you wanted to be a real anal retentive and sit there and try and control everything, you could do the off and the on for each light, but at the same time, you're just making more work for yourself. There we go. Decided to make the smaller, just to see how a 3-line display would work out on this, and it works okay, I suppose. But like I said, I'm going to completely up the ante on this and make a picture display where it's kind of like a CRT screen in the sky. Still have no idea how I'm going to actually fly something like that up into the sky, or if I'm going to make it manned or unmanned, but like I said, that's just something for another day. I, the D, now like I said, this is just doing things really quick and really on the fly, so I'm not really planning things out very well. I could have spaced the thes in the middle of the board, and I could have, you know, actually taken into account how many letters are in each word and how the spacing should be, but, you know, down and dirty, just really quick, just to make sure it works. I can already see that I probably want to expand this to a 4x5, because 3 lights on each one is okay, but 4 would be so much better for the big letters like B. Now, N is tricky. See, this is why I kind of need 4-line display, because that N really doesn't register well. Yet if it was 4 lines, I could easily make an N. Okay. So all the lighting should be done now. That's right, I do have to use sky, which is going to be fun. Now, as you can see, I've put each word on one custom. So the way to control this is custom 1 to toggle, custom 1 again to toggle, then custom 2 for the, then custom 1, 3, custom 1, 4, custom 1, 5. Now, if I just did that to off instead of toggle, I could have done custom 1, 2, custom one. 3, which would have been much simpler. Now, as you can see, I forgot my SAS on this, which is a big mistake on such a flimsy craft, so we're not going to go much further than this. Crash. But fear not, the main problem with that is the wheels. Yes, I should have put wheels on both sides. Why? Because with something this small and this light, you really do need to have balance. And while I'll probably never land this, and I'll probably never land this on that side because it's counterintuitive, I technically could. So, why the hell not? Throw some wheels on it. Okay. As always, go save and launch. Okay. Now, as you can see, I'm kind of reaching the limits on what I can do without having any support on these. So, bigger versions, I probably will need to have more support than just this bottom strut. Okay, lighting test checks out. I don't know how that one last dot got on there, but oh well. Up. We're not going to get very high because I really did not plan out the fuel for this very well. And here I am trying to use my lights before I destroy myself. But that was my fault. I didn't use full throttle. I really should have. So here we go, try it again, real quick. And this one should be the golden one. Okay, as you can see, I've lowered the throttle after the initial burn, just so that I get a longer burn. The void beyond the sky. And boom! So yeah, that's it for this episode. I will see you next time. This is just a little quickie before the Oban episode. Peace out.